the pages, hear the sound of time. Stories weaving words that climb. Whispered tales in a cozy nook. Welcome to the magic of every book. Bookshelf babble, take the stage. Turn the chapter, fill the page. Laughter, wisdom, stories to spare. A podcast world where books are everywhere. From paperbacks to leather spines, mysteries, thrillers, and classic lines. Stories crackle, voices ring. Dive on in, it's a podcast thing. Adventures waiting just one word away. From Austen's romance to Hemingway. Gather round, it's the bookish delight. Unfold the tales under podcast light. Bookshelf babble.
Hey, hello everyone. You're welcome in our live session Bookshelf Babble podcast, what we host in HelloTalk application. Here we talk about books and related topics with people around the world. Okay, let's go. And as a regular, we go to HelloTalk application. If you're not familiar with this platform, it's a platform where people around the world learn languages, especially English. And this application has nice feature that called Voice Room, where you possible create a voice room in any topics and just talk with people around the world. Okay. Our voice room called What Book Are You Reading? If you want to participate, just join for this voice room and start talking with me about books. Okay, let's go. Start our voice room. And yeah, we just wait when someone join to us. But first I should be notice that I am streaming on YouTube this session. Okay, I write the comment about streaming, and also you're welcome to join my channel. Just if you like to not listen but watch, just join for this YouTube channel. You can see and find all our previous session here. Okay, we just wait when people join to us. Maybe someone join. Okay, and yeah, and maybe I will join. Okay, hello, we have first participant here. We talk about books. Let's go to talk. Oh, yeah, sorry. And you, hey,
Yeah,
hello,
hello.
hello,
How are
hello.
you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank. What about you?
Yeah, I'm also good.
Nice. I have a
Are you
question.
streaming?
Yeah. If you want to watch, you can just watch on the YouTube, and you can find the previous stream too.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah. Uh, just back for our conversation. Can you share what book are you reading in current moment?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what book are you
Please
reading?
ask some questions.
Yeah, what book are you reading in current moment? Can you share?
Right now, I'm not reading any external book rather than my stuff, but I used to read some external books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then like Virtual Habits and then Hectic Psychology, this kind of books.
Okay, I very often heard from people they read book about rich dad, poor dad. Can you just
Hmm.
tell what is like to why you like to read this book? What is key motivation and is it useful for you?
Yeah, it's kind of useful for everyone, I think so, because it gives you the idea of managing your finance and how to build your startup and all those kind of things. So it's good if you want to build your finance or if you want to start any business by yourself. So it's good for those kind of people.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds reasonable. Yeah, but do you try to use some kind of principles in your everyday life? Because I'm not sure if it's many people like to open of some kind of businesses. But if you talk about regular life, do you try to use some kind
Mhm.
of principles?
So far, I said no because I have been through so many stuff in my life. I don't even have that much time to think about that. Maybe I'll be having good stuff or any small business, something like that. Because I've been learning something more important than doing something very wrong. But I do have a side hustle, like product hunting and Amazon and something like that. So, yeah, after reading that book, my mind diverts on that stuff, and they made me more curious to build some financial stuff, in that way. And I started taking more interest in my side hustle, like product hunting and digital marketing. So yeah, that was like beneficial for me, but not every day.
Okay, okay, but I just like to remember my time when I tried to start some kind of businesses or just like to manage some entrepreneurship. I think it's like to main idea and main goal at this time was just like to make the like to some survive in condition, just find some financial for some maybe first step for some kind of salary or just work in the zero, not about profit or not about like to manage, just like to how cover all my expenses. Uh, yeah, it just like to survive.
All right, yeah, that's kind of good habit to develop on yourself. That whatever you're reading, you should have to implement that in at the same time. But not everyone does that, to be honest, because like everyone has some traits. Most of the time, when people go for some reading books and all those stuff, they are actually want to just rebuild their reading habit for some more purposes. For example, in my country, most of the people go for the reading books and all those stuff just to build their habit, because they want to involve themselves in any competitive exam or something like that. That will be much more harder, and they have to study more for that. That's why they just used to read books just to build their reading habits. So it might be for more reasons.
Yeah, I I agree with you, but I just want to add, uh, in any books, it's not like instruction for like to for for doing something, just like some kind of thoughts you should be get analyze and just maybe pick up one or two idea what fit for especially for you, because it's all very different and different people has different experience, and in different country it's like to if you book written in one country, it's not mean they work in another country, especially if you talk about like to Asia and Europe and like to West. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very on people's mindset as well. It depends on you totally. But 100%, not every single person, whenever they go through some books, they'd bring some change in their life, in their mindset, in their lifestyle. That's something 100%. that happens.
Yeah,
If they are not doing that intentionally, but unintentionally, it just happens. It's all about your subconscious mind. I think so.
yeah. I think in this case, it's the book what you mentioned, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's it's
Mhm.
I think one of the like the popular book, and I very often heard about this, and people mention and they read this book. Yeah, it's I think for many people it's like to turning point, then they change life. For me, for example, I was very inspired and tried to use some principle from a book that has atomic habits. uh,
Mhm.
it's this book and
Atomic habits.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I just like to recommend it to uh,
Mhm.
and this book contains a lot like of suggestion how manage good habits and bad habits. But for me, it was very nice. Just one idea what I try to follow. That habits is very powerful, and if you want to build something like to big or reach some kind of goals, you just like to pick up one or two activities what you should do every day, and a long distance, this activity has a very good like to result on distance on 1 or 2 year or 5 year. But if you do this consistently, you have a very very good result. In this case, its habits are very very powerful, and I try to follow this idea what I found in the book.
Okay, that sounds great. But so many of my friends here, they also recommended me to go through this book, and they mentioned then the same name. But I never been to this book, to be honest. But I'm being curious now to go through that book. I will make sure to go for that.
Yeah, I think it should be like very popular because I saw this book in different countries on different languages translated. Yeah, I think it's some kind of rich dad, poor dad is some kind of bestseller and sold and translated to many languages. I think without problem you can find in your bookstore.
Yeah, for sure. I got your idea.
Yeah, I have one additional question I like to ask people who join here. Can you just suggest one book would show life in your country? It's maybe novel where action happening in your country or something related to your country.
Mm, I don't have anything in my mind right now because I totally focused on my progressive way. Whenever I have to read something, I totally focused on my, like progressive way. But though, yeah, we have some poets and some famous poets from my country. So if someone wants to go for that, then they can go for that kind of poetry books. There is a book, and his poet is Alama Iqbal. I will type it for you.
Yeah, it will be nice if you type it.
Yeah, sure. So he is the poet and he is the author of that book. So yeah, this is kind of poetry, not something else.
Yeah, but I think it's poetry. It's very complicated to translate, especially on English from like to Arabic languages, and I think it's very like to specific uh, like to kind of literature specific for language.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah,
is.
I
Let me check for it.
I
Let me check for it.
yeah I just want to mention one scene. Just a second. Yeah. In my bookshelf, I have especially one book about Pakistan. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this book has name. I don't know. Maybe you heard, maybe not. Uh, this Pakistan a hard country. Like to Anton Levin. I'm not sure it's some true point of your country, um, but because it's like to Western people who wrote this book, but I think I will try to read in future. I don't know, maybe you heard or not heard about this book.
I never heard about this book. Have you ever been to this book?
Sorry.
Have you been to this book? Have you read it already?
No, I just like to bought maybe some several months ago at my bookshelf, and sometimes when I try to pick up the next book, I go through the shelf and see this book. I think it's just some kind of history, current situation, like to describe life in your country, especially in the last 100 years.
But I will tell you something that it depends on region to region. For example, there are some regions in my country you can't even get that kind of life in any European country as well as much as lavish and as much good life you're having here. Uh, but rather than any kind of like comparison, I say that some regions are there which are being going through some hard life, especially my village, which named Gilgit-Baltistan. That's kind of that region is really hard. The people there, they're really hardworking, and they have to hard work for their survival. So yeah, that might be like related to those kind of regions. This book. So yeah, it might be true.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's maybe for like Western people, uh, like
Mhm.
to from their point of view, it's very hard to live. But for like people who live in a country, they just like to normal, like to normal situation because it's they like to environment and circumstances. I have the same like to film about my country when they like to Western people go to our countries, they very often like to surprise and just ask how your people like to survive and how you, I don't know, how you live in this kind of like to salaries, this kind of like to regime, or this kind of like to situation, something like this. Yeah, I think it's all is relative. It's if you compare the different countries. Yeah.
But the excruciating thing about this book for me is the author. The author isn't from Pakistan.
Uh,
It's someone else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I not like
So isn't it that much appropriate? I found it inappropriate to be honest.
yeah, each author it was like to reporter in like to spend a lot of time in your country. Yeah, but I think it's they has like to Western education maybe something another uh, another point of view. uh,
I didn't recognize your flag. Where you from?
yeah,
Ask you.
yeah, it's good question. It's my I'm from Belarus. um, yeah, Belarus, but now I'm living in Sweden.
Uh, all right. Yeah, I got it.
It's Belarus is just like to one of the post-Soviet countries.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I got it. I heard about this country before as well.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we appear in the news, not from like to positive sides, because we have some kind of conflicts. We have some another set of problems. It's one of the reasons why I moved to another country in this moment. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, like I think I should take a leave now. It was nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
nice.
very,
Yeah, it was nice
yeah,
talk. I very appreciate you joining in this voice room. Just like to follow me, and it will be nice to talk in next time. Or if you, uh,
for sure.
if you, try to, mm, I don't know, maybe copy the link and find the YouTube channel and just watch like to video version of this. I just like to
Yeah, for sure, man.
this way.
I'll make sure to catch you later as well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
take care.
Thank you for your time and see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it was nice talk. Um, hello, and again, let's go to talk today. Hey,
Hello,
hello, how are you?
doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I am fine too. Today was very like intensive day, but it's like to evening. I start the streaming and talk. It's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we can continue. We talk a lot like to yesterday. Maybe you have some thoughts what you can add from our last conversation.
Yeah, do you have a question in particular?
Uh, okay, I have like to one maybe some strange question. Uh, when the new year start, maybe you have some kind of plans. How many books do you want to read in this year? Maybe you set some kind of goals for reading.
No, I do not take like, I do not like set plans. I just read randomly. Whenever I feel like I want to read, I pick a book.
Yeah, why I ask this because I just try to do this kind of every day, or sorry, every year. I like to website that has name Goodreads. Goodreads.
Yeah, I've actually used it last year. Only 1 year that I've taken like notes of what I read.
Yeah, I use this site, and every year this site like you suggest sets reading goals for next year, and every time I try to do set but I never reach my goals.
Yeah, it's actually motivating because I used it last year and I set a goal of only 20 books, but I actually ended up reading 44 books because when you take note of the books that you read, you are more motivated to read more. It helps you be consistent.
Yeah, I think is this kind of like to playing methods what many games have, or some kind of achievements. Yeah, when you read, when you add this book in your bookshelf and you get like some kind of achievement, you have the progress, and result of this you have like a biological reaction in body, like to get some kind of endorphins, and you feel like to happy, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a really common phenomenon. It's called like the gamification of
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Like every aspect is made like games because people want those like of dopamine of achieving something.
yeah.
So I guess that's how
some
it
kind of
works.
some kind of dopamine curve. When you do something you get some satisfy, and uh, I remember like some 2 years ago when I work uh, in on development bank application. It's our manager told, okay, we should be make the functionality for our application like to engage people to get like to dopamine, because it's encourages engage people to use more application. If you use more bank application, it means you spend more time on this, and in result is bank get like to more revenue. and afterwards, yeah, I think it's um, very very like too popular, and many like to companies try to use this to get more money and more revenue from customers.
Yeah, that's true. Because like play is introduced even to work. Like people are making work more like gamified so that people do not hate their work. I think it does not work. Like in some situations, play cannot coexist with work.
Yeah, I remember in this case, I remember some people suggest some several books, especially like modern books about how it works, how gamification works for different products, how it's influencing our life. Um, but I not read this book, but I think it's so very popular, and some kind non-fiction book is written about this topic.
Yeah, even philosophers have talked about because they were like the first to to claim that we should introduce play into all aspects of life. And that's how it got like exploited by capitalists to promote their products.
And you mentioned philosophy. Um, I remember one one flight to author. Uh, it was very popular in middle of 20th century, and they has name about like to plain people. Um, but I remember like the Russian name of the book, but I don't find the correctly translation on English. Um,
Was he a Russian philosopher?
no, it's like to French or Switzerland. I don't remember. Just I will try to find. It's not like to philosopher. It's maybe more like to psychologist.
Yeah, you don't remember the name of the book?
Something like plain people. I just try to find just a second. Yeah, I find something. One of the book it's like to by Heisinger.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I remember it because in our lesson of philosophy in university, this author very often like to mention, and if you correctly remember, they just describe that play is very important for human life in many aspects, and in philosophy too, because like playing it's very important, like to behavior pattern what help to people some like to learn some kind of knowledge from childhood, and in play it's very important.
Yes, I think it's really related to childhood because it's in childhood where we only play without purpose, without any function, or to try to be productive. So people try to restore that past of play.
Okay, and I have one additional like suggestion. One people in this voice room like to suggest this. podcasts. Do you like to listen podcasts?
Not really. I don't listen to podcasts that much.
Yeah. They recommended. They like to philosophy too, and they recommended podcast. They has name Philosophize This.
Yeah, I've listened to it before.
Yeah, and what you mentioned, because is this guy who hosts this podcast, it's look very very clever, very smart, and describe very slightly interesting topics.
Yes, but the problem that I have with like podcasts is that there is too much content. You cannot keep up with it. That's why I prefer like books. I focus only on the book I'm reading, and that way I can stay focused and motivated. But if I try to listen to podcasts, I always get distracted by the over like there's too much content.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think it's better to focus on reading one book rather than knowing a lot of fragmented information on many books or authors.
yeah. I see your point. I think you very like attention for details. But for me, I don't know. Maybe I listen more like to talk podcasts when the people talk one to another, and very often they just talk about like to life, they like to some turning point in their career or some kind of this stuff. I think it's not so important just like to common information what you just like to get, and it's not care about some kind of details because it's like to just common description of life. It's not like to some kind of terms. Uh, Total like to lecture in university.
Yes, and I enjoy like there are like some good podcasts and good videos even in YouTube, and you can watch videos and you can get good content, but mostly you just enjoy it. You do not retain that information because it's not detailed, it's only on surface. So it it's good for enjoyment, but not good for knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I like to podcast, but I never almost watch the video on YouTube, uh, especially about some kind of tutorials or some kind of like a conference presentation, something like this. I do it now because when the people describe some kind of topics, when you should be very very attention on some and focus on something, it's very very boring, and I do it now. But in same time, I very simple possible listen podcast, yeah, like to just 1 hour because I walking in this time or maybe riding on bike, do something because it's not attract my like to my eyes, just listen and do something in background.
Yeah, that's a good use like of time because it's gonna be wasted if you do not listen to something. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's some boring just sit and listen podcast. Yeah, it should be look very strange, but when you do something, it's just it's count like to maybe more productivity because you try to do two stuff at the same time.
Yes, but multitasking is also like difficult. Sometimes when you multitask, you end up not doing any task properly.
Yeah,
But it depends, you know.
yeah. In this case, but I think it's a podcast when the people talk one to another. It's just like to you without problem, just like to can lose some part because it's I sure not so very like important. But when you listen audiobooks, especially for me, I try to be more focused because it's possible like to lost very important parts. In this case, if I want to choose listen audiobooks or read book, I prefer read book because you read whole book without like to skipping some part. when you listen, it's very simple to lose some part of, or just like to unfocus it in this time. And when I listen audiobooks, I just listen in when I lay in bed, but very often I just fall in sleep, and maybe podcast continue, and I don't know where I stop. Yeah, in this case, I don't like to listen audiobooks.
Yes, definitely books. Like, you can return to something that you've read, you didn't understand. You can linger in some sentence you did not understand, but in audiobooks, like, it just keeps coming. The information keeps coming, and you can't stop it. So it's difficult on memory.
Yeah, but in this case, it's possible like to more be productive, and you possible listen this book when you walk, and what not possible with book. Yeah, and sometimes when I listen podcasts, not podcasts, audiobooks. These audiobooks it's very good like to record it. It's very nice people voice of speaker who read, and also very often this audiobook has some kind of background music, some kind of intros, some additional sounds. Maybe it just like to two or different or more different like to voices, and this it's make something more, I don't know, attractive, more like to good for understanding, and book make more like to more live.
Yes, that's really true, because even books like in the past, it was more about oral speech than it was about written word, because even the Greeks were just about oratory and about convincing people through speech, and only later it became more about words, and poetry was recited orally for the audience to enjoy it. But right now we are more about silent reading. So like both have their own beauty.
Yeah, it's very good point. I don't think about this case. Yeah, but it's really true, especially of some kind of genre, what variation like to tales, like to poetry. It's just like to origin from speaking, from speaking origin, when people translate by sounds. They don't care about like to structure, grammar, or about something like this. Just like to speak, to engage people, to make them interest. Yeah,
Yes,
it's nice.
that's true.
Thanks for this mention.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my time is left for today as a regular, but I spent more time for today because it was very nice talking, nice people join in this voice room. Thank for your time and for participate again here.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah. Okay, have a nice like evening, and see you next time, and be care. Yeah.
Yeah, take care.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, we complete our session almost. It was nice talk, and two nice people joined to this conversation. I very enjoyed. Yeah, good, and I think we have good talk today. And see you next time here and Bookshelf Babble podcast live session, and where we talk about books and relate topics. If you watch this live stream on YouTube, don't forget to press like and write the comment, or just subscribe to be on touch on the same page, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Flip the pages, hear the sound of time. Stories weaving words that climb. Whispered tales in a cozy nook. Welcome to the magic of every book. Bookshelf babble, take the stage. Turn the chapter, fill the page. Laughter, wisdom, stories to spare. A podcast world where books are everywhere. From paperbacks to leather spines, mysteries, thrillers, and classic lines. Stories crackle, voices ring. Dive on in, it's a podcast thing. Adventures waiting just one word away. From Austen's romance to Hemingway. Gather round, it's the bookish delight. Unfold the tales under podcast light.